Hello! Oh, God. Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another Winchester Wednesdays. I'm your host, Winchester572, and it is good to be back. I've been gone for a little while, and now I'm back. So, yes, Spiderfest happened. Did that one stream after that. Did find out, due to the accident and shit, my mixer now has 2 dead channels. But it's not too terrible. So they were 2 channels that I really didn't use anyways so far. And honestly, if I get to the point where I need them again, I'm probably just gonna buy another mixer. So I'm not too concerned. But other than that, no. Got the wonderful shotgun mic in the background. So yeah. So I guess without further ado. Oh wait, I guess I should announce we're back to reading tonight. So that should be fun. So now, without further ado, let us get into the call.
Sorry, you did break the record.
Are you guys timing me?
Yes, that was exactly 4.2 seconds.
Lovely. So,
stop vacuuming cleaning.
With how the shotgun was pointed, it almost looked like it was just pointing through where your head was.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to get it on this side because that's where the cables, where the cord's actually going into the mic. The other side, it just looks like a shotgun on a mic stand. Wouldn't that be stupid? Who would just put a
actual mic on that?
Well, yeah, it's a shotgun mic. Haven't you heard of it? All right. So yes, let's introduce our people here. So first off, we have my wonderful co-hosts, Crazy Matt Captain and Skyrays.
Hello.
My brain is broken, and I blame Winchester. I will stab him at some point.
Good luck. You need to go to a con first.
I know.
And speaking of people that I should at least drag somewhere to say hi, Commander something. Say hi.
Drag somewhere. Okay.
Sorry, I'm finding my computer. Oh, okay, I'm here. Hi.
Yes. I need to drag something somewhere. Oh my. And there he left again. Alrighty, and next up we have our wonderful fanfic editor, Double R Forrest.
Now, when I go by double R, it's usually referred to my first name, but I also have 2 R's in my last name. So, am I still double R, or would that make me quadruple R?
Quintuple R.
No. It would be double R, since they're not technically together. They're in 2 different names.
Or perhaps double
They
A.
cancel each other out, so he just becomes R.
Can't we just call him Ed?
Okay, Frank. And last but definitely not least, well, we have the guy who I trained to help me out with my A2ing duties. Datsmore.
I'm sorry, you said guy that you trained? Where's that guy?
Well, yeah.
I want to know where he is because apparently he's using my name.
Go find Galen. Go find him.
Oh, Galen. So
Yeah,
second question, who was Rarity last time?
You?
No.
Oh, was it Zero?
No.
I was sick the one week. Who did it? I want to
No,
know.
correct.
When you were sick the one week, I think we just ended up canceling.
No, we had
All
someone
right,
else
perfect. That's all I needed to hear.
We can check the document for reading number 3.
Oh, right.
That's what these things up top are good for. They tell you things. What's that?
Let's see who can make it first.
By the way, sorry if I don't talk a whole lot, guys. Can't tell. My throat feels like a million bees just had an orgy and accidentally spilt all the acid tablets.
I will blame your voice being dead on Soma.
Sure. We'll just go with that.
No, so far every 3 gems in a scooter has had Dadsmore's rarity.
Okay,
There was
so
that one time that
Imagine.
Rectifier was Scootaloo, but that's.
I just, you know, I gotta keep up consistency here. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, you were sick, and I think everybody else was gone, and we were just like, screw it. And that's that was the night that Commander and I did more Sniper Elite.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, you're dead. I'm the second bang, because usually he misses on the first shot.
Shut up. So yes.
So we're back to the old grind. 3 gems on a scooter, eh?
Back to the old grind. Yes. No, 4 gems on a scooter. That's how it is.
4.
Yeah, didn't you know she grew a 4th one?
Is that like some animation error that I missed or something?
Probably.
Well,
Alrighty.
she did lose her neck in the holiday special.
Okay, I still haven't seen. So.
You still haven't
Single
seen-
frame.
Look, I know it's before Thanksgiving, and yeah, I get it, but still, it's worth it.
Well, no. The issue is I just haven't gotten caught up in the episode. So I guess without further ado, Skyrays, why do you have so many ones?
Because for some reason IRC hates me, and every time that I create a new name, the name gets taken up. So I got to create another name with another 1 in it.
Fun. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Send me the full technical issue there. I'll send it to TechMan, see if he can figure out what's going on there.
I don't know. If I just do Skyrays, it doesn't allow me in, so I just do random names.
Probably because you may have made it actually an account with this password.
I don't remember doing that, but maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, let us get on with the show. So, here we have 3 Gems and a Scooter by Raylan Krause.
Oh, now he wants to do funny voices.
Not really. I just like to announce the title stupidly.
Okay. Go.
Narrate, and I would always do something kind of fun for the first intro thing. Shush. Narrating will be myself, Winchester. Playing Rarity will be Datsmore. Playing Scootaloo will be CMC. Playing Lily will be Commander something. Playing Autumn Wing will once again be myself. Rainbow Dash shall be Double R. And the customer will be Skyrays. 3 gems on a scooter. Which hurts worse? Scootaloo spent the rest of the day by herself, quietly playing in a room. This gave Rarity an understanding of how her previous foster parents must have felt. It was exactly as Autumn described her behavior. Scootaloo wasn't mean or disrespectful. She just retreated into a shell, refusing any of Rarity's effort to re-engage with her. And despite offers of more poker lessons or a trip to the arts and crafts store, she continued to rebuff Rarity for the entire day, even through dinner, which she ate in her room. Rarity considered demanding Scootaloo at least eat downstairs, but somehow it seemed like a violation of her promise to try and force Scootaloo out of her funk. Rarity told herself that she would work on teaching Scootaloo why such behavior was uncalled for later. But for now, she let it slide, hoping some space would demonstrate her good intentions. The next morning, Scootaloo offered more of the same, mumbled hello to be precise, before trudging off to school. Rarity spent her day running her business as though she didn't have a temperamental filly to care for. From the perspective, there was little to be done anyway until Scootaloo proved willing to re-engage. Scootaloo returned from school with the same mumbled greeting she was offered in the morning. Even if Rarity wanted to allow Scootaloo time to wallow, they had an appointment to keep, and the lady was always punctual.
Are you ready to leave?
Rarity asked as politely as she could manage, lest she agitate Scootaloo further, sabotaging her visit before it had even begun. Scootaloo stared at the ground, avoiding eye contact.
Yeah, just let me put my stuff down.
Scootaloo stayed in her room for significantly longer than it should have taken to put her school supplies away, and Rarity was about to go upstairs and knock on the door. But before she got to the stairs, Scootaloo emerged from her room wearing a yellow sundress with a bright white daisy on the skirt. Her mane was also shiny, adorned with a small yellow beret, and meticulously combed. All in all, she looked heart-meltingly adorable. She also looked nothing like the filly Rarity was used to seeing.
So, how do I look?
Rarity tapped her hoof on the ground, ponderously humming, the way she often did when she was judging a new dress. Studying Scootaloo carefully, she walked over, closing the distance between them, pausing to give the filly one last look. Rarity licked her hoof, then promptly tussled Scootaloo's mane until it resembled the familiar windswept look that she had become accustomed to seeing. Scootaloo jumped back and glared angrily at Rarity, her back arched.
Why would you do that? Now I have to go brush it again.
But instead of matching Scootaloo's countenance, Rarity returned the glare with a wry grin.
Scootaloo, I've known you for a few years, and I have only seen you brush your hair and wear a dress twice. Once at Princess Caden's wedding, and again for Sweetie's play.
Scootaloo's glare lessened, but traces of it still remained.
Don't you want me to make a good impression? If they like me, I'll be out of your mane.
Rarity sighed. Apparently her efforts to make Scootaloo feel welcome were not going as well as she thought they were.
I want you to find a family who appreciates you for who you are. Didn't Autumn say this was about every pony getting to know each other?
Scootaloo glanced away and pawed at the ground.
Yeah.
And they can't really get to know you if you're not being yourself, can they? The Scootaloo I know is a wonderful little filly who likes her mane tousled and has no use for frilly dresses. That's the filly they should meet.
Scootaloo wiggled her shoulders and slipped out of the dress she had carefully picked out. She walked over to the mirror and stared at herself for a good long moment, her mouth twisting into a kind of sad smile.
This is who I am, I guess.
Indeed it is, and I'll tell you a secret.
Rarity leaned close to Scootaloo as though she was about to share something illicit.
I like this Scootaloo a lot better than the one who came down the stairs.
Scootaloo looked in the mirror again. Her expression didn't change, but Rarity did notice a faint twinkle in her eye that hadn't been there previously. At the full services office, they found Autumn waiting for them with a pair of earth ponies. Rarity assumed to be Scootaloo's prospective foster parents. One was a light tan-colored mare with an orangish mane, and the other was a sky blue stallion with a white mane.
I'm Lily.
The mare spoke with a wide, almost hopeful smile. She turned slightly so Scootaloo could see her cutie mark, which matched her mane.
And this is my husband, Treble.
I'm Scootaloo.
Scootaloo said this, but despite the pair of ponies in front of her already knowing that. Having to introduce herself to ponies who already knew her name was just one of the many things Scootaloo hated about these visits. She knew that Autumn already had shown the prospective parents a file containing her name and picture. They had obviously talked about her, else they wouldn't have agreed to meet her. So, having to confirm that she was the pony they had already thought, she was struck her as an indignity that she shouldn't have to put up with. But Lily acted like it was the first time she had ever heard the name, nodding intently.
It's very nice to meet you, Scootaloo. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm a Pegasus. I like riding my scooter and dancing, and I don't like spaghetti.
Scootaloo replied as though her entire being could be summed up in those 4 details.
Well, that's very good to know. I don't know much about scooters or dancing, but my husband is a musician.
Scootaloo had no response, so the two just stared at each other for another moment.
I like to garden. Have you ever done any planting?
Scootaloo glanced away, looking around the too familiar room.
I've helped Applebloom do her chores a few times at Sweet Apple Acres.
Ooh, I've never been there, but I hear their apple orchards are very impressive. Maybe you can show me around one day.
Sure. I don't think Appleton would mind.
The tragedy of the situation, according to Rarity, was that Scootaloo really was making an effort, though it might not have been apparent to any pony who wasn't familiar with the old Pegasus' penchant for walling herself off. She answered the question posed to her with more than one syllable. She tried to force a few smiles, and she played chutes and ladders with at least a monicum of interest. But none of that would matter if Lily in Trouble couldn't understand that Scootaloo needed time to feel comfortable.
Who are you watching, them or her?
Rarity asked Autumn from behind the one-way mirror where they had taken up shop to observe the meeting. Autumn kept his gaze firmly on the three ponies, writing a few quick scribbles in a notebook. Scootaloo's never going to open up to someone meeting them for the first time. I'm trying to see how they deal with that.
Maybe I should talk to them. I've gotten to know Scootaloo at least a little bit. Maybe I could help them understand that she just needs some time.
Autumn shook his head, even with enough conviction to let Rarity know that this was not up for debate. No, they need to form their own opinions. New parents usually have very little interactions with previous guardians for that exact reason. Rarity pursed her lips, trying not to be offended.
I see.
She kept observing the possible family continue their game. Scootaloo continued to go through the motions, rolling the dice when it was her turn and moving the appropriate number of spaces. But there was nothing joyous in any of her actions. Lily in Trouble played with tempered enthusiasm, clearly letting Scootaloo win, which caused Rarity to cringe inwardly. Though their intentions may have been pure, denying Scootaloo a legitimately earned victory was not the way into her good graces. As she watched the game continue, she felt a strange tightness in her chest. Nervousness? Fear? It wasn't strong enough to be either of those. If she had to put a name to it, she'd describe it as defensive. She wanted to pound on the windows and scream through the glass. No, Scootaloo doesn't want to win. She wants you to accept her whether she wins or loses. But Autumn's word echoed in her head, and she stayed quiet.
You win. You'll have to give us a rematch soon.
Sure.
Scootaloo replied to Lily's exclamation and Trouble's faux disappointed expression with a very nonchalant shrug. Having exhausted all the enthusiasm she was prepared to offer, figuring that their visit had run its intended course, Autumn reintroduced himself, coming out from behind the one-way mirror. Well, that's about all the time we have. Scootaloo, thanks for coming. Lily, Trouble, if you would follow me back to my office, please. With no further interaction with Lily and Trouble necessary, Rarity and Scootaloo returned to the boutique. Scootaloo went upstairs to do her homework, and Rarity again found herself making dinner. Cooking for two had become almost second nature, surprisingly quickly. Despite Scootaloo's distaste for spaghetti, she wasn't a picky eater. As such, Rarity found that her usual meals didn't need to be altered. Only the portion size increased. Scootaloo designed to eat downstairs, and Rarity chose to reward this behavior by not bringing up any potentially incendiary topics. Instead, they made polite small talk, mainly focusing on school and crusading. Rarity did the dishes and settled in preparing to digest another few chapters of Bringing Up Fillies. A fierce storm raged outside, the winds howling. Safely inside the walls of the boutique, Rarity was grateful neither she nor Scootaloo needed to venture out. A bright flash of lightning was quickly followed by a loud crack of thunder, and Rarity found concentrating difficult. Another bright light and subsequent crack later, Rarity set the book down. She had never had much problems with storms, but she remembered that when Sweetie was younger, she would cower at even the faintest rumbles of thunder. Thinking of Sweetie naturally made her curious about Scootaloo's response to inclement weather. Even if Scootaloo wasn't bothered by the noise, she might appreciate another lullaby, so Rarity went upstairs to offer one. Scootaloo didn't protest the intrusion, inviting Rarity back into the room, and perhaps seemingly to her incredibly small circle of trust.
What did you think about Lily in Trouble?
Rarity pulled the covers securely over the orange Pegasus.
They seem nice. They live in Ponyville. That's kind of the best I can hope for.
Why do you say that, dear?
Because I know how this works. Autumn took them back to his office, and then it was all, what did you think about Scootaloo? And then, is she always like that? If they like me, Autumn will ask me how I feel about them. No, I'm not scared of them. Yes, I'd like to stay in Ponyville.
Scootaloo replied to the hypothetical inquiry as though she was reading items off a grocery list. A terrible thought planted itself in Rarity's mind at the mention of the word scared. What if Scootaloo had been abused by her subsequent foster parents after she had been abandoned? It might help explain further why she was so reluctant to lower her guard. The horrifying question needed an answer, unpleasant though it may be.
Scared? Has anyone ever hurt you?
Rarity studied Scootaloo intently for any sign of deception. Scootaloo shook her head.
No, but Autumn always asks if I think they might. I don't think he'd let any pony he thought might hurt me even meet me.
Scootaloo spoke quietly, looking down at her hooves. Rarity breathed a small sigh of relief. It was nice to be reminded that there were other ponies looking out for Scootaloo's welfare, and that, though Scootaloo had endured a horrific trauma, it hadn't been compounded. As far as Rarity could tell, the list of ponies Scootaloo trusted consisted of maybe 6 individuals. Her sister and Apple Bloom were almost certainly on it. Likewise, she was sure Rainbow had to occupy a spot. Scootaloo had never complained about Charlie, so Rarity assumed that maybe her teacher had been granted at least a measure of trust. She herself seemed to be on the list, however tenuously. Lastly, it appeared that Autumn was also somebody whom Scootaloo placed her fragile faith in. The idea that Scootaloo thought that in all of Equestria there were only 6 ponies whose intentions toward her benevolent was just another in a long line of heart-wrenching details that Rarity fought to maintain her composure. The raging storm sent a particularly strong gust of wind through the windows of Scootaloo's bedroom. Even though Rarity quickly resealed the windows and closed the latch with a quick spell, one of Scootaloo's pictures was knocked off the wall. Scootaloo hopped out of bed and hurried to retrieve it as though it were a priceless artifact. After inspecting the picture carefully, she put it back on its designated spot at the center of her makeshift gallery. There were lots of hoof-drawn pictures of Rainbow Dash on the wall above Scootaloo's desk. This one was clearly special. It depicted Rainbow standing proudly on top of a mountain, a large, gloriously shining sun at her back, and a rainbow over her head. Even just a curious glance was enough for Rarity to judge that it was the picture Scootaloo had spent the most time on.
You really admire her, don't you?
The question may have well been rhetorical. Scootaloo looked up as though Rarity had just said the most obvious thing ever, in a way, she had.
Of course I do. She's the coolest Pegasus ever, and the best flyer ever. You're her friend, you know that.
Rainbow certainly is a very talented flyer.
That was as far as Rarity was willing to go in agreeing. Scootaloo gazed longingly at the rest of the pictures she had colored. Her eyes lingered for a particularly long moment on the crude drawing of both her and Rainbow Dash soaring through the clouds. In that picture, Scootaloo had an impossibly wide smile on her face, but her real-world equivalent bore no such expression.
I wish I could fly.
I know you do, dear.
Her picture secure, Scootaloo climbed back into bed.
If I could fly, I'd live with Rainbow Dash, and I wouldn't have to go to any more of these stupid meeting things where ponies ask me stupid questions and play stupid games and judge me all the time.
You really don't like those meetings, do you?
Another rhetorical question. Scootaloo shook her head, clearly trying to restrict her visible reactions to a faint trembling. In response, Rarity reached over with a foreleg to pull Scootaloo into a soft hug. It was a calculated risk, but to Rarity's surprise and delight, Scootaloo made no effort to resist. In fact, she could swear that she could feel Scootaloo burrow into her shoulder ever so slightly. Rarity gave Scootaloo what she hoped was a reassuring squeeze. Looking down at the filly next to her, Rarity had minor empathy. It wasn't that she was angry at Rainbow for being unwilling to adopt the filly next to her. It was that she was insulated from the consequences of that decision. Even though Rainbow remained resolute in her commitment not to adopt Scootaloo, still adored her. In large part because Scootaloo mistakenly believed that flying was the only obstacle preventing her and Rainbow Dash from being a family. Rainbow got to spend time with Scootaloo, blissfully unaware about how much the filly was hurting, because Scootaloo worked hard at hiding it, and every time they practiced flying or saw a movie together, Scootaloo would look up at Rainbow with absolute, unquestioning, uncritical adoration, and Rainbow would drink it up like a parched traveler who stumbled on an oasis, all because of a misconception. That wasn't fair. In fact, it was more unfair, it bordered on cruel, that Rainbow Dash was allowed to refill her boundless self-confidence from Scootaloo's never-ending well of adoration, while Scootaloo's self-worth was always on the precipice of being completely depleted, was a state of affairs that Rarity found increasingly intolerable. But she knew she couldn't be the one to shatter Scootaloo's carefully constructed fantasy. It was unlikely that the little filly would believe her, for starters, but beyond that, Rarity wanted, perhaps somewhat selfishly, Rainbow Dash to have to look Scootaloo in the eye when Scootaloo learned that her idol was not all that she imagined. Without question, a difficult thing, but a fitting penance. If Rainbow Dash really didn't want to adopt Scootaloo, then she needed to own up to that fact. One more thought stayed her tongue before she spoke. If Scootaloo did confront Rainbow Dash directly, it was highly probable she would be hurt. Badly. Looking down at the orange filly, snuggled warmly in bed, made that prospect singularly unappealing, as at that moment Rarity would have sworn to do whatever it took to spare Scootaloo from further heartache. But holding on to false hope was a different form of pain. And if Scootaloo ever did learn to fly and Rainbow Dash refused to take her in, wouldn't that hurt worse?
Have you ever talked with Rainbow about adopting you?
Scootaloo curled her tail around her body and began running her hooves through it.
Not really. I mean, she said she's my sister.
Scootaloo curled... Bleh. Mind.
I think you need to talk to Rainbow Dash about adopting you.
Scootaloo's ears perked up and she smiled, Rarity's words overshadowing the sadness in her voice.
You think she will?
Rarity very cautiously considered how to respond, her ears pinned back against her head. It wasn't her place to speak for Rainbow Dash, but she also refused to lie.
I think you need to hear her thoughts on the subject.
However, the careful wording was not lost on the little filly.
You don't think she'll adopt me, do you?
Scootaloo backed away from the edge of the bed and scowled from under the blankets.
Well, you're wrong. As soon as I can fly, Rainbow's going to invite me to live with her, and it's going to be awesome!
I hope so, dear.
It was the only reply Rarity felt comfortable giving. Unfortunately, it also earned her another scowl, but past that scowl, Rarity could almost hear the wheels in Scootaloo's head turning. It was as if every time Rainbow was late to meet her, every time she left with a brisk "see ya, squirt," and every cancelled flying lesson began to beat against Scootaloo's psyche. And the effect of that pressure rendered Scootaloo mute as she tried desperately to push it down.
Scootaloo.
Get out! I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Rarity started to protest, but ultimately decided not to, backing out of the room without a word or the lullaby she had came to offer. It appears she had been once again relegated to that rank of most ponies as far as Scootaloo was concerned. And whether she deserved that designation or not, she knew that one did not curry favor with Scootaloo by forcing anything. Tomorrow she would make an effort to work her way back into Scootaloo's good graces. The next morning, the nugget of doubt that had been planted by Rarity's suggestion was still present, gnawing away at Scootaloo's psyche. Rainbow is going to adopt me. Rarity is wrong, she repeated inwardly. But no matter how many times she repeated the mantra, the doubt wouldn't go away. The only thing that could calm her mind would be if Rainbow herself She couldn't focus in school. Everything from math to history to arts and crafts all reminded her of Rainbow Dash. After school, she didn't feel like crusading. Instead, Scootaloo sped through town on her scooter, desperate to alleviate what had become an almost overwhelming ache pushing against her chest. Scootaloo frantically scoured Ponyville for any trace of the one pony who could help her. Finally, just off the main drag, she spotted Rainbow, lying on a shallow cloud, seemingly without a care in the world.
Rainbow Dash!
Scootaloo practically shouted as she approached, her emotions overruling her decorum. Rainbow jumped in the air, frantically looking for the source of the outburst. Even when she located it, her expression was no less surprised.
Hey, Squirt, what's up?
Normally, Scootaloo might have tried to play it cool. Rainbow Dash never got flustered, so she shouldn't either. But she had been waiting all day to confirm that she had fervently hoped was true.
Rarity thinks you aren't going to adopt me, but that's silly, right? I mean, you're just waiting for me to learn how to fly, aren't you?
Rainbow balked, visibly, stammering and flailing over her hooves wildly before managing a coherent sentence.
What? Me adopt you?
Yeah, I had one of those stupid meetings with some ponies the other day, and I told her that you were going to adopt me once I could fly, so that you wouldn't have to fly me up to your cloud house all the time.
Scootaloo wasn't making a lot of sense, but the overall theme of her visit was becoming distressingly clear. It was no different than dealing with an oncoming storm. The best way was not to get caught and to make a detour.
Okay, slow down, Squirt. How about we just get some ice cream?
Scootaloo looked up at Rainbow with wide, questioning eyes. Was Rainbow joking with her? Surely any second now she would burst out laughing with, just kidding, Squirt. Of course you can come with me once we get you flying. In fact, how about we go practice right now? And why was she offering ice cream? Scootaloo didn't want dessert. She needed to know Rainbow was going to adopt her. Scootaloo forced herself to remain calm. She had ambushed Rainbow, maybe her idol. Maybe her idol thought that Scootaloo was asking to be adopted today. That had to be it. This was all just a small misunderstanding. Once Rainbow realized she was just checking in on their unspoken agreement, she'd, of course, confirm her intentions.
I still can't fly, but I'm working really hard at it.
Scootaloo hoped for a clarification made up for her sudden outburst. As Rainbow sat on her lofty perch, looking down at the filly staring up at her, she feverishly tried to remember what Rarity had told her. She's profoundly unhappy. You can help her. And for the first time since she had met the kid, Rainbow was beginning to see how true that was. It was impossible not to feel for Scootaloo, but Rainbow also knew that letting your emotions make your choices was a good way to end up in an even worse situation. Scootaloo clearly thought that Rainbow was going to adopt her at some point in the future. Where she got that idea was a problem for another time. For now, Rainbow was just hoping to escape with both of their egos intact. She thought about lying. Yeah, of course, kid. Once you fly, I'll totally adopt you. It wasn't true, but it would make Scootaloo feel better. And maybe she'd never fly, or maybe she wouldn't want Rainbow to adopt her later. She also thought about being brutally honest. I'm not adopting you ever. It's not your fault. I just don't want kids. But she was too loyal to do the former and too cowardly to do the latter. It was nice having Scootaloo look up to her, telling her how awesome she was. Really nice. If there was any way to keep that dynamic, Rarity wanted to try. Or Rainbow wanted to try. She gently hopped off her cloud, and again attempted to sidestep the question.
I know you are, Squirt. Don't worry, you'll get there.
When Rainbow didn't add anything to her last sentence, she could feel the tension in the air growing oppressively thick. Scootaloo continued to look up at her, waiting for something, anything that would indicate that Rainbow was just waiting for the right time to swoop down and save her. Rainbow scratched her forelegs, a nervous tic that she had developed.
I want to be your sister. Sisters don't take care of each other, not like moms do.
Rainbow hoped the distinction between family members would work in her favor.
Apple Bloom's sister takes care of her, and Rarity takes care of Sweetie Belle sometimes.
The ache in Scootaloo's chest grew sharper with each passing moment. She found it becoming more difficult to breathe. and she felt her throat close up, forcing her to take several deep breaths to avoid turning blue.
Well, yeah, but only when her parents aren't around.
Rainbow instantly wished she could take it back, fully aware of the trap she had just walked herself into. Skulu's heart started to race faster, her voice rising.
My parents are never around. I don't even know who they are.
Another moment passed, and a precipice was crossed. Skulu was clearly too dogged for Rainbow to continue to avoid the question. She could fly away or make up some emergency, but that would just be a no in a different form.
Scoots, you don't really know what you're asking here.
A last gasp prayer at trying to spare Skulu's feelings. It really wasn't the squirt's fault, Rainbow thought. If she ever did have a kid, she'd want that kid to be just like Skulu. But no matter how awesome the squirt was, she was a child, and children just weren't in her future. Skulu's face contorted into several distressing positions, her emotions easy to read. The tension she had been holding in began coalescing into a sickening ball of self-loathing. Evidently, even Rainbow Dash couldn't overlook the terrible flaw that everybody else obviously saw in her.
I thought you were different. Well, I don't need them, and I don't need you!
Skulu screamed through her tears now flowing freely down her cheeks. Before Rainbow could reply, Skulu jumped on her scooter and furiously sped away, leaving Rainbow wondering if following her was really the best idea. What will you do? Or what did you do? One of the hardest parts of being a fashionista was balancing the pressures of immediacy with an ever-changing medium. Clients wanted the latest fashions and they wanted them now, but dresses took time to make. They needed to be designed first. Then came experimenting with fabrics and colors, because pieces often looked different as they transitioned from the page to the real world. And after that transition, they still needed to be sewn and tweaked so that they were perfect. And all of that needed to be finished before the current trends ended, lest the designer be stuck with last season's dresses taking up valuable retail space. So, to satisfy clients for whom time was paramount while still offering whatever flavor of the month was, Verity had developed a few tricks. One, of course, was to keep an eye on the fashion world so that she might predict which style trends were likely to break. Prance and Maryland began being two hotspots that kept her attention. The other was to try and ensure all her designs had a timeless elegance to them. Clean lines and contemporary colors that looked good no matter what season it was. Between those two things and some salesmanship, Rarity could usually satisfy whoever ran into her shop urgently demanding the latest fashion for an event taking place tomorrow night.
Subtle is in this year, and those vines with the small pink flowers would accent your eyes nicely.
Verity was trying to persuade her latest customer that the dress she was holding was indeed the one she was looking for. Before the mayor, considering the dress, could respond, their conversation was interrupted by the sound of a door slamming. Rainbow Dash burst into the showroom of the Carousel Boutique, nostrils flaring.
What did you do?
Verity managed to restrict her anger at both the entrance and the accusation to a smile through gritted teeth.
Hello, Rainbow. As you can see, I'm with a client right now. Perhaps we can talk about this in a few minutes?
She barely opened her mouth, lest the faux smile be proven false. In response, Rainbow turned her attention to the very surprised mayor still holding the pink flower accented silver dress.
Hey you, her dresses suck.
Excuse me?
Verity visibly recoiled from such an uncouth characterization of her stellar work. Rainbow ignored the accusatory tone in her friend's voice and kept talking.
Yeah, they'll fall apart the second you leave the shop. You're better off buying from Philly's Barnyard Bargains.
I assure you that...
Nope, they suck.
Rainbow gave an empathetic shake of her head. The mare holding the dress quickly backpedaled toward the door before she became a witness to a crime.
I can come back later.
Rarity's now ex-client beaded a hasty retreat. As soon as the door closed, Rarity flared her horn and flipped a sign so that the closed side faced the street. She fixed Rainbow with a decidedly hostile glare, furrowing her brow and grinding her hoof into the carpeted floor.
You just cost me a sale, probably a client, and you damaged my sterling reputation, which I have worked very hard to maintain.
She was now shrieking, no longer needing or wanting to hide her emotions. Rainbow snorted.
It's not so fun when someone messes with your life, is it?
Rarity rubbed her temples with both hooves and let out an exasperated sigh.
I swear, I have no idea what you could possibly be talking about.
Scoots came to talk to me today.
Rainbow figured that explanation was all that was necessary.
Oh.
Rarity's voice softened as she imagined how that conversation must have gone. Between Scootaloo's simple adoration and Rainbow's startling lack of decorum, it wouldn't have surprised her if it went even worse than she had imagined. Rarity was
needed to be done.
Rarity was unable to maintain eye contact with the mare standing in front of her.
You needed to tell her that I wanted to adopt her?
Rarity's head jerked sharply upwards.
I did no such thing.
Then where did she get the idea from, huh?
From you, you uncultured, boorish narcissist.
Rarity's accusation left Rainbow visibly shaken, so much that she sat down on her haunches until she remembered that she was still angry. She stood back up and resumed her yelling.
What the hell are you talking about? I never said I was going to adopt her. I didn't even know she wanted to be adopted until you told me.
Imagine that. You were too busy thinking about yourself to notice what some pony else wanted. I'm shocked.
Rainbow rolled her eyes, having heard Rarity's insult too often for it to have any real effect.
Oh, shut it. Who are you to make that call anyway, huh? Square and I had a good thing going. You wrecked it.
Who am I? Well, I care about her.
It was almost as though she was admitting it to herself as much as Rainbow. Rarity's voice grew louder.
And until another option presents itself, I am responsible for her.
Bang up job you're doing there.
At least I'm trying to help.
But Rainbow refused to be cowed. She had thought a lot about Scootaloo since her last fight with Rarity, and each time she came to the same conclusion. Adopting her wouldn't be fair to either of them. And she wasn't being unreasonable by refusing to completely upend her life, no matter how much Rarity tried to guilt her. Rainbow jabbed a hoof accusingly toward Rarity.
No, you don't get to pin that on me. We've been over this. You want my help? Let me know what I can do. But I can't adopt her, Rarity.
Rarity lowered her head, trying to make eye contact so that Rainbow could register the concern in her voice.
Can you even imagine what it's like to feel as though no pony loves you? That is what she's going through.
Yeah, it's sad. But that isn't my responsibility.
Rainbow paused as she let Rarity's words sink in. She really couldn't imagine what it was like to feel well and truly alone in the world. That didn't change her belief that adopting Scootaloo would create more problems than it solved. For Scoots, as well as her.
I do love her. Like a sister, you know?
Rarity was forced to concede that she had been a little hard on Rainbow these past few days. Though if she had been, it was only because the emotional stakes warranted it. She nodded, hoping her eyes conveyed some level of understanding that the words couldn't express.
I know, but I don't think you'd understand how much she loves you. All she wants is for you to adopt her, to love her. And when the idea that you might not came up, I don't think she knew how to handle it.
Is that what you did? You just told her I didn't want to adopt her out of the blue?
Rarity considered whether Rainbow's accusation had any merit. Their conversation hadn't exactly been out of the blue, and she didn't actually say the words, "Rainbow doesn't want to adopt you."
Not exactly, no, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, but she's not my responsibility.
Quite right. For the time being, she's mine.
A troubling thought entered her head. Rainbow was here. Skulu was undoubtedly upset. But where was she? The question needed an answer.
Where is she?
Rainbow shrugged apologetically.
I don't know, she ran off.
Rarity's eyes grew wide as her heart started to race.
You let an emotionally traumatized filly just run away?
What was I supposed to do? It didn't seem like she wanted to talk to me anymore.
Rarity grunted a most unladylike grunt. She couldn't exactly argue with that thanks to her own experiences with being on Scooter's no-talking list, but as stubborn as the orange filly could be, it wouldn't help to solve any of the problems Rainbow, and maybe herself, had just created if they just let her just wallow in self-pity.
We need to find her.
Where do I belong? Despite their differences, neither Rainbow nor Rarity were so angry at each other to put their feud ahead of Skulu's welfare. The idea that she needed to be found hung in the air, not so much because it was controversial, but because neither pony knew what to say next.
Do you think she went to the clubhouse?
Rainbow had seen her last, so maybe she would have some insight as to where the little filly might have went, even if just the direction she was heading. Rainbow snorted a diverse snort.
Yeah, because when I'm upset, I go to the first place I know all my friends will look for.
Then where is she?
Rainbow prepared to fire off another sarcastic response, but she couldn't come up with one. Instead, she carefully considered the question. Skulu was hurting, and it was, at least in some respect, her fault. It meant that she owed it to the little firecracker to help. As she reflected on the question at Hoof, it occurred to her how little she actually knew about Skulu, the revelation making her shiver with a healthy dose of guilt. And because she really didn't know that much about the little filly who needed her right now, she didn't even know where to begin to look for her. Every pony always said how much Skulu was like her. If they were right, maybe whatever similarity every pony saw applied here as well. Rainbow forced herself to take a hard look inward, the process almost foreign. She spent much of her mental energy pushing down negative emotions, walling them off so that they could do no harm. Now she needed the insight that only those troublesome feelings could provide. Not just to know how Skulu felt, but to find exactly those feelings might drive her toward. Betting that Skulu carried a similar burden, she reached inward to touch the pulsating blob of fear and sadness, mixed with guilt, regret, and shame that she kept hidden from the world. She winced as the rotting, sticky blackness came into contact with her conscious mind. The feeling was horrible. There was simply no other word to describe it. Every doubt she had ever had, every insult she had ever shrugged off, hammered her ego, beating it into a small shell of its usual outsized self. She wanted to run. Every instinct she had screamed at her, "You're not good enough. You don't matter. You're definitely not worthy of your friends."
She'll go somewhere that matches how she feels. It will be dark and scary because she doesn't feel like she deserves the sun's rays. And it will be isolated. She doesn't want to be found.
Rarity reached out and placed a comforting hoof on her friend's shoulder.
You have a free forest?
It was the only place she could think of that matched Rainbow's distressing characterization.
Maybe. The caves near Ponyville Lake are another option. That's where I go.
We should split up. The lake is closer, I'll go there. You get Fluttershy and search the forest.
Rarity did her best to keep her voice level. She already had one troubled Pegasus to worry about. She didn't need another. Rainbow didn't argue, instead carefully shutting the door on the feeling she had just invited in. A few deep breaths and a cocky smile later, she felt a little more like Rainbow Dash she presented to the world.
On it!
She gave a wink before speeding away, a familiar multicolored wake trailing behind her. Rarity locked the door to the boutique and quickly hurried in the opposite direction. As Rarity trotted at a brisk pace towards the lake, she found herself hoping that Rainbow's instincts were wrong and that Skulu was in the Everfree Forest. Despite thinking about it the whole way, she really had no clue what she would say to Skulu if she found her. Yes, she had a penchant for being overdramatic at times, and her life wasn't all caviar and moonbeams, but the rejection Skulu was dealing with was something so alien, so unbelievably inconceivable, that for the first time in her life, Rarity wasn't sure if she knew what to say. A few meters away from the lake that abutted Ponyville existed a series of small caves, once used by the Timberwolves, though now largely abandoned. There were maybe 20 of them, ranging from the size of a small hovel to a few that could comfortably fit Ursa Minor. Rarity listened carefully, but no sound could be heard emanating from anywhere. Remembering Rainbow's words, Rarity poked her head in the smallest cave she could see. But it was empty. The next cave contained a multitude of cobwebs, and Rarity furiously pawed at her mane, trying to get them off before confirming that it too was empty. It took a few more small caves before Rarity finally found who she was looking for. She poked her head in, and a trembling orange ball looked up at her, almost immediately. The little filly turned to run away, but her choice of alcove left her nowhere to go. Instead, she used her tail as a shield, intersped between her and Rarity, and pressed herself as close as she could to the cold cave wall. Rarity breathed a sigh of relief, and Skulu's eyes were bloodshot. That was to be expected, and her nose was runny. Her coat was caked with a thick layer of dust, and she was clearly frightened and miserable. But she wasn't physically hurt as far as Rarity could tell. The most troubling aspect was the listlessness that pervaded what few moments she made. There wasn't even a trace of joy in her eyes, not even a defiant spark that Rarity was used to seeing. This was clearly a Skulu for whom the world held nothing but empty platitudes and broken promises. Rarity gingerly took a few steps forward, her movements deliberate and gentle. She didn't say anything at first, instead opting to sit down a few feet from where Skulu had taken up residence. One thing Rainbow had been right about was that the cave Skulu chose would hardly be more depressing. Despite the bright sun shining in the sky, very little light managed to find its way inside. The air was damp, and thanks to the layer of dust on the ground, as well as lack of air circulation, stuffy. Didn't begin to describe the ambiance. Rarity ignored all of that and tried to focus on the Pegasus sitting in front of her, who was staring at her with a pitiful expression.
I know you're disappointed in Rainbow right now, but give her time.
She was hoping to begin what was most likely going to be a very hard healing process. Skulu shook her head slowly, her previous expression morphing into something that looked more like guilt.
It's not her fault. If I were the coolest Pegasus ever, I wouldn't want some flightless loser dragging me down.
That's not it at all, dear.
Rarity's heart broke at Skulu's characterization of herself. Skulu slumped down against the cave wall in an effort of sitting up apparently too much for her right now.
No, it's fine. I know there's something wrong with me.
Skulu, there's nothing wrong with you. Aside perhaps from you being covered in dirt, but that can be remedied with a shower.
Rarity's last remark was a futile effort to make Skulu smile, but Skulu's expression remained morose. Rarity stopped herself from another attempt as she realized that Skulu didn't need to be humored right now. But wallowing in a dank cave wasn't going to do either of them any good either. Skulu looked away from her temporary guardian.
I might as well stay here, in this stupid cave, down the stupid dirt.
Goodness no, you don't belong here.
I don't belong anywhere.
In response to Skulu's declaration, Rarity flared her horn, bathing the cave in a diffuse light. With the glow emanating from her horn, the cave looked less like a pit of despair and more like just another rock formation.
Come on, let's go home.
For now, it seemed the best thing she could offer Skulu was a shower and a bowl of ice cream. Skulu stood up, her legs wobbling, the emotional ordeal of the day having left her weak. Quickly, she was encapsulated in a magic bubble and set gently on Rarity's back. She started to protest, but was quickly cut off.
Oh, hush. It's not a short walk, and you're quite clearly exhausted.
Rarity ended any further discussion about how Scootaloo would get back to the boutique. Scootaloo didn't have the energy to fight back, even if she wanted to. In a small way, Rarity kind of wished she would. It would be a sign of the bold, brash Scootaloo she knew was somewhere within the dejected little pony, silently clinging to her. Forelegs wrapped around her neck. The pair arrived back at the shop, and Rarity kneeled so Scootaloo could climb down off her back.
I do believe you might feel better after a shower.
Scootaloo only trudged upstairs without saying a word as a response. Rarity heard the sound of water running for a few minutes, and then she heard nothing come from upstairs. As she pondered over what else she could possibly say, her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of her front door slamming.
I can't find her, Rarity. Fluttershy and I looked everywhere.
The panic in Rainbow Dash's voice was readily apparent. Rarity held up a hoof in an effort to placate her friend.
You were right, Rainbow. She was in the caves near the lake. She's in her room now.
Is she okay?
Well, that's a complicated question, isn't it?
She's physically fine, but she's hurting emotionally, Rainbow Dash. And you, like it or not, may be the only pony capable of helping her.
Rainbow trembled, staring down at the ground.
I can't adopt her, Rarity. I just can't. It wouldn't work.
For the first time since this whole thing started, Rarity didn't argue. She watched Rainbow confront her own fears to help Scootaloo, and the pain of her previous statement led Rarity to believe that her refusal was not born of selfish desires.
I understand, dear, but maybe you could let her know that just because you can't adopt her doesn't mean you don't care about her.
Like she even cares about what I think right now.
Rainbow's voice was laced with an ironically familiar self-loathing.
Most ponies wouldn't. She does. She doesn't blame you, Rainbow Dash. She blames herself for not being good enough for you.
Rarity's words hit Rainbow like a tree she didn't see coming, and she was promptly knocked off her hooves, sitting down from the shock.
Oh.
A few kind words from you would do wonders for her spirit.
Yeah, sure, I can do that. I think.
Rainbow was still firmly rooted to her spot at the foot of the stairs.
She's in the upstairs bedroom.
Right.
Rainbow glanced upstairs before slowly rising to her feet. With Rarity wordlessly encouraging her, she went upstairs only to see the door to the bedroom slightly ajar. She took a deep breath to steel her nerves and stepped inside. She found Scootaloo staring at the pictures on her wall. Most of them depicted her was not lost to the larger Pegasus. A brief look of surprise flashed across her face as Scootaloo turned to see who had entered her room. Then she turned away, more interested in the two-dimensional crayon Rainbow Dash than the real thing.
I guess I haven't really been a good sister, huh?
Rainbow scratched at her forelegs and bit her lip as she struggled to think of something else to say.
Listen, Scoots. Why didn't you tell me any of this? I mean, I could have helped. I could have done something.
For the first time since Rainbow had walked in, Scootaloo dared to look directly at her.
If I had told you earlier, would you have adopted me?
Rainbow sighed. Scootaloo apparently wasn't going to make this easy on her.
No, but that doesn't mean I don't love you.
Yeah.
Scootaloo replied. It was clearly nothing more than a rote response.
You're too young to understand this right now, but I'd make a terrible parent.
Scootaloo shook her head and sniffed. She knew about terrible parents. There was no way Rainbow could ever fit that description. It'd be like someone calling Pinky boring.
No, you wouldn't. You're the most awesome pony in the history of ponies.
Rainbow was clearly lying to spare her feelings. The problem was on her end, where it always was.
I'd be an okay kid. I promise to try really hard and do my chores and go to bed on time.
Scootaloo was trying to guess at whatever her previous parents clearly found so intolerable about her. Before Scootaloo could finish her list of promises, Rainbow hurried to close the gap between them and wrap Scootaloo in a fierce hug, squeezing her tightly. It was an uncommon display of emotion for Rainbow Dash, but one she couldn't help. She lowered her snout and gently placed it under Scootaloo's, lifting both noses slowly, keeping the orange filly firmly in her grip.
Listen, kid. We're going to find you a family, and when we do, you tell them that you're part of a package deal. You tell them that you come with a big sister and that she loves you and that she's going to be spending a lot more time with you from now on, so they should clear some space on your calendar.
For Scootaloo, it was more than she expected, but significantly less than she had hoped for. Rainbow's words were like antiseptic on a gaping wound, painful for a few moments, but ultimately soothing. The hurt was still there, but at least it didn't feel quite so raw. It was also hard to ignore the fact that Rainbow was holding her, the way a mom might. She snuggled further into the embrace. For a brief moment. She felt safe, felt loved.
Hey, Rainbow Dash?
She looked up again with impossibly wide eyes.
Yeah, Squirt.
What's wrong with me?
She was too embarrassed to keep the previously established eye contact.
I know you don't want to adopt me, and that's fine, I guess. But maybe if I can fix whatever ponies don't like about me, I'll find some pony who will.
Rainbow could only squeeze Scootaloo again.
There's nothing wrong with you. You're an awesome little pony. And I'm sorry that I don't tell you that enough.
Yeah, that's what Rarity said.
Scootaloo muttered to the floor as she broke away.
Well, she's right. I may not agree with Rares about a lot, but we agree on that.
Yeah, right. I can't even fly.
Flying is...
Rainbow paused. There was no sense pretending that flying wasn't all it was cracked up to be.
Flying is great, kid, but it's not going to make you awesome. Remember what I told you? Maybe you'll fly, maybe you won't. You're all kinds of awesome anyway.
Not awesome enough to be adopted.
Rainbow narrowed her brow and glared as gently as possible at her sister.
Hey, any parent will be lucky to have you. You hear me? Lucky!
So why can't it be you?
Scootaloo dared to look at Rainbow in the eyes again, painful as it was. Rainbow sat down and spoke quietly, hoping that Scootaloo could hear the sincerity in her voice.
It's like I told you. I don't know how to take care of a pony, Scoots. I have a pet tortoise I forget to feed, and he only eats once a day. I'm a lousy cook, and I can't really help you with your homework. Or at least I won't be able to when you get older.
Those things were all true, but also kind of irreverent. She needed to get to the heart of the matter.
You deserve better, Squirt. You really do.
Her statement delivered, she stared intently at Scootaloo, looking for any sign that the filly understood what she was saying. A furrowed brow, or maybe a nod. But the filly's face remained frustratingly blank. Scootaloo looked toward her, then over at the wall of Rainbow Dash pictures, and then finally back at her again, her expression a perfect mask.
We're still sisters, right?
Rainbow could only offer Scootaloo another hug.
Package deal.
Rarity paced back and forth over a now very well-worn carpet in her living room. There was no yelling coming from upstairs, but there was also no other indicators about how Rainbow's efforts were going either. Finally, she heard a set of soft hoof steps. Rainbow entered her living room looking shaken.
I'm Sorry what I said about your dresses. They don't suck. I still have the one you designed for the gala. If I ever went to fancy parties, I'd wear it. If you want, I could try and find that pony I scared off earlier. Maybe tell her that I was just angry at you.
Rarity couldn't help but laugh. In retrospect, and only in retrospect, the whole thing was kind of funny.
That's sweet of you to offer, but I think my reputation can survive one unfounded rumor.
Rainbow nodded, a gesture of contrition. The events of the day apparently behind them, both ponies turned their focus to the filly upstairs.
So, now what?
Truthfully, I have no idea.
And that was a very good ending spot.
Yes, it was.
Was it? I really have no idea.
Perfect.
I see what you did there.
So that's where it's feeling like normal.
So, apparently there was an echo, and Toa tried to inform us via the chat that only I had open.
What chat was that?
The Twitch chat!
Oh, yeah, that's a thing.
I didn't even know we were on Twitch.
Also, how much did I miss? I just...
You just died? Maybe everybody died but me. How weird would that be that it decided to kill everything as soon as we got done with the reading? What interesting timing.
What happened?
Oh. Hello?
Hi?
Hi?
What?
Okay. I just heard Skyrays say what all did I miss from, and then it just everything went dead.
Oh.
Like
That's
completely dead, and I'm just like,
Yeah, and it says that Winchester just joined the IR too.
interesting. I must have had a small internet derp.
Interesting, because the stream didn't go down through that, so...
Yeah. I don't know.
Lost a keyframe or something, but it still kept going?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anywho.
So, yes. Anyways. Yep, very good place to end. Skyrays, I don't know how much you missed. I don't know when exactly you took off, but yeah.
It's been about 15 minutes.
Yeah, when I sent that message 9:40, about 5 or 10 minutes before that. So basically, about 5 minutes after I finished mine, I ended up going to the restroom. And
Well, I
was
mean,
in
yeah,
there
because you were the
pretty
customer.
much the entire time. Yeah. So
Well,
up until from then until now, I've been.
Well, they
Scootaloo was in a cave.
Scootaloo was in a cave. Rarity brought her back home. Rainbow and Rarity kind of sort of made up, and Rainbow kind of had a frank discussion with Scootaloo, and yeah. And then there's like, yeah.
And then we ended it on a cliffhanger.
Yes.
And that was
Yep.
it pulls at the heart.
So did anybody punch anybody, or was
Nope.
just not a?
Unfortunately not.
I lost a
No.
customer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I remember that. I was the customer.
Rainbow Dash had to look inside of her feelings for a change.
Oh.
That was scary for her.
And might I add, you were a shitty customer. For you not to understand that florals are in season and are going to work for this situation is just beyond me.
You're just mad because you don't want to admit that your dresses suck.
Excuse me. I own 2 stores. How many stores do you own?
5.
I'm a Wonderbolt.
I actually don't know if it's more stores. I'm very behind.
I'm pretty sure that there's at least...
I'm an unimportant background character. Does that count?
There's 3 now?
Manhattan,
Yeah, there's 3. Manhattan, Canterlot, Ponyville.
Coco, and...
Sassy
One,
Saddles.
Sassy Saddles and the other. Actually, no. Coco's on her own thing. Then there's those 3 that are in Manhattan.
No, Coco was always meant to be the manager. Those 3 were the employees.
I think Coco is more of an outside contractor.
Yeah.
That's how they portray her. She's always she's brought in, but she's not the one
Yeah,
holding the sword.
Coco is her
And
own
It's
element.
Miss Pummel. Don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, I think there's another one. But Tokoi says 3 stores, and Tokoi keeps
Yes.
up with that better than any of the rest of us. So
Interlot, Manhattan,
And
Ponyville.
Yeah, that's
I'm
it.
opening a franchise in some other horse-related town next week.
Okay.
perfect.
And I'm a Wonderbolt, so whatever.
I'm sorry, I could just buy the Wonderbolts with my extravagantly wealthy lifestyle.
Oh,
You can buy a government-funded
Program.
I'm going to take my
It
sports
just so
team, and I'm
happens
going to
not only
sports
do you
better than
make
the other
chic
sports teams.
design, you also happen to be paid by the government to create chic undercover design. You know.
Well,
I
actually,
cannot confirm or deny any of that.
well, now you've given me some thoughts of things that I need to talk to Cole about because we have some fan theories to come up with.
Kohl's? No, we're no, we don't. I don't sell my clothing line to Kohl's. No.
What about Decanter
Well,
Creek?
where did Starlight get all those fashionable cloaks?
How about Mercy's?
Please. Any Philly can make a cloak, man. Like, right? Anyone can make a cloak. Did it pop? Did it grab you? Did it invoke emotion within you? No, it didn't. It wasn't one of mine.
It physically grabbed me and pulled me in, and it evoked my emotions. All right.
And then it charged me for rape.
See, okay, that's a gimmicky thing by some of my competitors. It's not me. I'm more subtle. You gotta be subtle about it. You can't be up front, all up in your face. That's just shitty.
Well, what if people like upfront, huh? What if that was the new trend?
Well, that's fine. If you like subpar quality, then that's up to you.
Wait. Oh, I love subpar quality. Chinesium is the best thing ever.
Yeah, you would. You would. Where do you get your clothes? Huh? Kmart? Walmart. Oh,
JC
okay.
Penniless?
Yeah.
Actually, I can't get them
One of
there
my
anymore
stores with your
because they're
ridiculous
gone.
hat.
Goodwill.
Well, that explains a
Okay,
lot.
I get some fantastic ideas from Goodwill. All right.
I mean,
Why they don't charge for me to be in their store? And plus,
No.
I'm never tempted to buy anything because look, it's Goodwill. There's nothing there I want to buy.
Oh, please. Thrift shopping is so 2013.
I had some
I went
Is
to
that
this
when
Goodwill and I
Macklemore
was
released
able to find 2 Barleys inside of a big container. I wanted to buy them, but I forgot to buy them.
how do you forget to buy something?
Because I was with a coworker. The last thing I wanted to do was buy a bunch of pony shit in front of a coworker who happened to also be my boss.
Then just call him your boss.
Oh, so
He doesn't like being called a boss. He likes to be called a leader.
right, Silent Row. I forgot about how that worked out. That's interesting.
So, yes. But anyways,
Barley's women's clothes.
but anyways, it was fun. Thank you very much. I really want to see Charlie's response when he gets my email about the spirit badge for Cider Fest. Just be like, you were there. Why did you? And my simple answer is that's the only badge that you could buy where you actually got both plushes.
There you go.
That, and also I already had a staff badge, so I got into the con free, so I really didn't need con entry.
Did you still have to pay for it, though?
Well, for the spirit badge, yes.
Huh.
But I didn't have to pay for my entry into the con. That's
Yeah,
like the one thing that they provide. So, which I mean, I'm thankful for that. But I mean, compared to some of these furry cons, where it's just like, oh, it's free or hotel's free. That's nice. But yeah, so. Anyways, thank you all for showing up. It's been fun. So now time for outros. So we'll start with Commander something. Or not. We'll start with that. Oh, wait.
Is that what you wanted, right?
I did say outros.
10 out of 10.
Oh!
I was wondering if you were just me, or if you just accidentally hit the wrong button again.
I really thought that's what you wanted, so I left. There you go. Outro.
Well, yeah, that's what we did want. Goodbye.
Okay,
Wow.
goodbye.
Can't believe that worked.
Alrighty. Next on to Datsmore.
Yeah, that's me. What up?
Outros.
Outro? What am
Yeah.
I outroing? Did it ever start?
Yeah.
Was that not the practice round?
No, that was not.
That was not the practice. Oh, so I don't get to go back and do that again.
No, you don't.
But I messed up some of my lines.
So did I.
Oh, see, I didn't notice. So I have no shout-outs. Nobody's important except me. So yeah, that's all I got.
All right. And okay. Next on to Double R. Yes? No? Double R? Shout out?
Okay, I take it back. Shout out to
Did you not hear Double R? He said words.
No?
Winchester.
My stores, which are better than any barnyard bargain.
Nope, lies and slander.
They're the best. You're fake news. Fake news.
But,
You're fake
but
news.
can you beat the dump in Chicago? The dump has everything good.
Yeah, but the dump doesn't do sales.
No, that's legit the name of the store. They call it the dump. I'm not even joking.
Is it a thrift store?
They don't call it that. They call it a what they call it? They call it a cheap, luxurious option.
Sure.
Sounds like a legit business to me.
So, I see Winchester hiccuped in the IRC again. Are you still there, Winchester?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Double R, can you do your shoutouts again, since apparently Stream didn't get them?
Wait, who didn't get it?
Stream.
I didn't.
His internet had a seizure at the same time you spoke. There might be a connection there.
So I have to restart.
No! Just do your shoutouts again.
Okay, shoutouts to Filthy's Barnyard Bargains because their dresses don't suck like someone's other dresses that I know.
Perfect. Alrighty. And next on to Skyrays. We keep talking about things that suck, and I don't want to say that everybody sucks.
Alright, shoutouts to Pepto-Bismol. They help with nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Also, side note, not everything sucks, Winchester. You swallow.
Oh, okay now.
All right.
Right, that just upset me too, buddy. Holy hell.
So Double R sucks now. On to CMC. My last remaining friend.
Fires, explosions, LOE, Roan, venison jerky, and desert bus in 1 day, 14 hours, approximately.
Trust me, I know.
Go watch this charity stream. They're fun, silly comedians. And they've got fun prizes, including probably a couple uncut sheets of magic cards.
For the last 2 years, I've wanted to. I remember when I used to be so blissfully unaware of what Desert Bus was, but now, once a year, I have it shoved down my fucking throat. Oh well.
This post is great.
Sorry, could you repeat that slowly?
Alrighty, and thank you all for showing up. It has been a great time, probably better for you, and yes. So, without further ado, yeah, make sure to check out the other things going on throughout the week. So yes, tomorrow Silent Blast does his little ditty over on his Twitch thing, so go check that out. Friday is their own RPG stream, which is always fun. Saturday is deer season, yay! So I'll go hunting for Blue. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, Blue. And yes, so yeah, plenty other fun to be had. And yes. But yeah, and then Saturday also is Creatures Gaming Meltdown. Sunday is Circuits Let's Play. Monday is the Brownie Show, and it is pre-showed by the Equestrian Flag Stop. Also, make sure to check out the pre-show. It's always fun. The main show, you can catch up on all your Brownie news. Tuesdays, as far as I know, we don't have anything unless somebody feels like doing something random, but there's nothing scheduled. So, yes, but normally somebody streams, whether it be Odyssey or Forest Thunder's actually been doing some stuff like over on him and his friend's Twitch channels, so go check them out. Yeah, also Sora's been doing a thing. I popped into one of her streams the other day. And yeah, I also found that P1K streams Train Simulator. Simulator, not stimulator. He doesn't simulate them, he just simulates them. Nah. So yes, boy, I'm going down a slippery slope here. So yeah, have some Miracle of Sound!
Something to fight for. Following the footsteps. Take a leap of faith and ride with the wind. Pour upon the turning tides. My faith will follow me. Trials to begin. Out upon a world so wide. I face my odyssey. On the point of the blade sinking, it will carry me. My odyssey. On the twist of the road, on the shores ever golden, will carry me. My odyssey. On the peak of the ridge, on each side of the bridge, it will carry me. My odyssey. Winds of the ocean carry me. Winds of the ocean set me free. Winds of the ocean carry me in the fading dawn of time. Winds of the ocean set me free. We'll go across the line.
Thank you all for showing up. This is Winchester 572 going 10-7. I'm out. Bye-bye.